calling people, and when I get on the phone with them, I have so much to say that I just do a mental download and have a flow of verbal diarrhea of all the information that I have learned and have gathered, and basically it comes to the point where I sound like a rambling fool. So I've decided to start doing videos to share with everyone, to just share my experiences and share what I've learned with all my brothers and sisters all over this planet. And so this video today is going to be about oath of office, what the oath of office is. I have a packet here of information that I have found by doing research, and the information I have gathered, I have put it all into one document, and I named the document Oath of Office. Now, I don't know all the legal statutes, codes, ordinances, policies, procedures, all that kind of gibberish, and all the nonsense that has to do with it. But I do know that I'm not an attorney. I'm not a bar member. I do know that I'm not giving legal advice. And I notice a lot of people on YouTube do these disclaimers to protect themselves from frivolous accusations or spurious complaints. The reality is, I'm just a man, and I'm just looking for the truth and sharing what I have found with others. I'm not responsible for anything you do or don't do. You need to be responsible for you, and I'll be responsible for me. And all I'm sharing today is stuff I have found. Okay, I'm not claiming any rights to it. I'm not claiming that it's my work. All I'm doing is sharing what I have found with you, a little bit of my own understanding and spin on it. But you know, I would love for this video just to go out there. It's going to be a pretty long video, I think, because it's a pretty large document. But I think I'm going to just go ahead and start. I always wondered why public servants or anyone in the public have to take an oath of office. And so I started doing some investigation a while back and found a lot of information about the oath of office. This may not, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff here, but I'll just share with you guys what I got, and I hope it's helpful to anyone that's looking to hold their public servants accountable, or to, and to understand for any public servants that don't understand what the oath is or what it pertains to, or if it's just some pointless ritual that you do and it means nothing. I mean, the oath of office is what your job description starts with. That's the purpose. It starts by putting you in subjection to something as a public servant, and you're swearing to that oath, or affirming to that oath. So I'm going to read off, for anyone who's got a pen and paper ready. I guess with video you don't really need pen and paper to go back and review. But I'm going to read off all the areas, all the different things that I have found in their laws, which, again, I'm just quoting what they have. I'm not claiming right to it. This is just fair use. I'm not getting paid for any of this or anything. And as far as I understand, it's public information, and it's made for the public. But I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on with whatever they're copywriting and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to share with you guys what I found. So to start with, we got 5 USC section 3331, and that covers the oath of office. We've also got 28 USC section 453. That covers the oaths of justices and judges, which is, I just had a recent encounter with a quote-unquote judge or justice. It was just a man, and I won't name him in this video because I don't want to cause any undue hardship for him other than what's lawful or within the confines of my right and responsibility to hold him accountable for what he has done or has not done, or whatever. So the next one is 5 CFR 2635.101. This covers the basic obligation of public service. The next section that I have in here, it's called the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause is part of their oath of office. Well, I'll just read the oath of office real quick so we can kind of get an understanding. This is the one for this area. This area is commonly called New York. This one is for, it's under Oath of Office, form number 69. And it states here, the state of New York, county of, you know, and it leaves all the blank information for where this oath is being put on record at. It says, I, state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Okay, that's the first one in this oath of office, which is for the public servants that are in this area. I will support the Constitution of the United States. It goes on to say, and the Constitution of the State of New York. Okay. Now we're dealing with two constitutions here, and the question will always come, well, who's the boss? If you're dealing with two constitutions, which one has supremacy? Which one is if one is in conflict with the next, which one do we follow? And so, in the first one that's stated in this oath, the first constitution that is stated is the Constitution of the United States. So that constitution is the first stated, which number one gives it supremacy, just by the oath or affirmation. And secondly, within that first one, it states in Article 6, Paragraph 2, there's the Supremacy Clause, which explains, I'm summing it up here and paraphrasing, but it basically explains that any law that is in conflict with the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution, it says in the Constitution, this Constitution, which establishes the organic Constitution, that Constitution, not any derivatives or changes or newer constitutions that happened throughout history, but this Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land. I would suggest anyone that wants to do any further study in this, or if you ever think that because of what you're doing with studying in law and asking questions and rocking the boat or going against the current or making waves just by peaceful inquisition into the system, peaceful questioning, and peacefully seeking justice and defending freedom, I would suggest that you guys get one or both of these books. They're pocket size. You can order them directly from the print. I would suggest not ordering them off of like any website like Freedom Talk Radio or any of these different groups that sell them, because they usually put a higher price on them and sell them to make a little bit of money off of them. But this book and this book are two books that will help you, help yourself, and help others, and protect and defend freedom for present and future generations. And it will ensure, I'm not saying that these documents have some type of power. It's what you know and what you apply and where you stand. So if you learn the truth, because some people believe that, hey, because you're not signatory to the Constitution doesn't apply to you. Okay, fine. But who is signatory to it? Who is swearing an oath to it? And who does it apply to? Now, I can question, well, if they swore an oath to the Constitution, and the Constitution explains that it's been established, governments are established among men to protect the rights and property of, to secure the rights and property of men, then the whole purpose of the Constitution is to protect the people, the men and women of the land. So, yes, maybe we weren't signatory to the contract, which is the Constitution, but it does put a restriction, I think, on anyone that's going to be acting or perpetrating a de facto government. Or maybe it's not de facto, I don't really know. We'll only really know everything when we're dead, I think. But as far as I'm concerned, this is good information to know, and it's good to have on you, just like a wallet. Keep it with you everywhere you go, because if you ever have a time where you're going to challenge the jurisdiction of a police officer peacefully, and they end up throwing you in jail on pretended offenses or unlawfully imprisoning you, it would be good to have that information to read and study, and even leave there when you leave. Leave it with some of the guys that are there for a longer period, or anyone who's there that you can help. Just leave that information with them, and then just order a bunch of them, so you can always pass them out and hand them out. And it may not be the answer, the end all to all. It may not be the end all to the answers we need to live peacefully in a society or live peacefully on this planet, but it is a start. It is a start to inspire those who are maybe timid about what their rights are, or about who they are as people. And those documents, they really set a foundation for people to start exercising their rights, and it gives them something to fall back on and an understanding, and it puts the courts back under oath, and it starts to bring back the common law. So enough of that. So back to the Supremacy Clause. So there's a Supremacy Clause in the organic United States Constitution, and you know, I'm considering it the United States Constitution of America, the organic original Constitution that hasn't been tampered with or altered, or that it's not a changing document. Okay, it's not an adopting document to the whims of society. But anyway, so the Supremacy Clause, if you read in Article 6, Paragraph 2, it covers that. So you need to get yourself a Constitution or a copy of the Declaration of Independence. There's a thing in the Supremacy Clause called preemption. And I'll just read it here because it's short. When state law and federal law conflict, federal law displaces or preempts state law due to the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution. You can look this article up. It's U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 2. This is an actual law. It's not just some story that we were told in school. So you can look that up. Preemption applies, and it's exactly what I'm saying. Article 6, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution. Preemption applies regardless of whether the conflicting laws come from legislatures, courts, administrative agencies, or constitutions. Again, which constitution do we follow? The one that has the Supremacy Clause. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that almost every state constitution clearly explains in their constitution that it is subject to the United States Constitution, or some wording to that effect, that if any laws created pursuant to this Constitution are notwithstanding in regards to the, I'm messing it all up, but basically I'm pretty sure I read that for New York State Constitution, but I can't, don't quote me on that. And on the next section we go to, let's see here. Here, I'll read it to you. I got it right here. It says, "This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution, or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding." So they're even saying, hey, this is a document that secures freedom. But if we made a mistake, if we messed up and used the wrong wording, or put it in a way that is in conflict with what's right, with what's natural law and common law, it says right here, anything in the Constitution. It doesn't say anything in this, it says anything in the. There's a reason why those words were changed. Anything in the Constitution, or laws of any state. Okay, so they're talking about the Constitution, not this Constitution, because it starts with saying this Constitution. I'll show it to you right here. This Constitution. I don't know if you can see that. My camera's not really that great. But it explains this Constitution. I mean, you guys may think I'm picking words out here and being picky, but let's be real. This is how we communicate. We communicate through words and through sounds and through fluctuations of our voices. It's all, and we've got to understand what we're talking about. So this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. What does bound mean? Well, does that mean they have a bond? If they're bound? Does that mean they're restricted to the Constitution? I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, shall be bound thereby anything in the Constitution. Let's read it in its context. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state. So it's saying the Constitution or laws of any state. So I think we're talking about potentially a different constitution here, or new or improved or altered constitutions, or laws of any state, to the contrary, notwithstanding. That means notwithstanding in law. If it's notwithstanding, it has no standing. It's notwithstanding, so it has no standing in law, which it's a nullity. It's void. Let's go on here. We've got 18 U.S.C., United States Code, Section 152. It's called Concealment of Assets, false oaths and claims. Getting a little tongue-tied. And false oaths and claims bribery. And it goes on to say, in number 2, it says here, a person who knowingly and fraudulently makes a false oath or account in or in relation to any case under Title 11. And then it goes through all these different aspects of knowing. If someone knowingly and willingly fraudulently files proof of this or files a false claim, yada yada yada. And then the final explanation at the end of it all is shall be fined under this title, and prison not more than 5 years or both. Now there is a lot of other things in here that I'm recognizing that is happening with the case that they're trying to put on me here. Knowingly or fraudulently makes a false declaration, certificate, verification, or statement under penalty of perjury. Knowingly or fraudulently presents any false claims for proof against the estate of a debtor. Knowing and fraudulently gives offers, receives, or attempts to obtain any money or property, remuneration, compensation, reward, advantage, or promise thereof for acting or forbearing to act in any case under Title 11. So I'm going to have to go back and look under what Title 11 is, but this is really interesting. This is the stuff I found. I went fishing with my research and caught some of them may be nasty little catfish or gross pike or whatever kind of, figuratively speaking, whatever kind of stuff I found. I would suggest you do your due diligence as a man or a woman, research what information I'm sharing with you, find it out for yourself, and apply it, and share it with others. Share it with your family. Word of mouth is the best way to make any positive change, to make any change, even negative change. Word of mouth. Oh, just doing my job. Oh, that's just the way it is. You get all brainwashed that that's just the way it is. Actually, it's not. See, I just got off the phone with a sister of mine, and I was doing my rant like I am now, but at least now, if you don't want to listen to it, you can just exit out of it, and I'm not affected. No, it doesn't matter. But at least I get to get it off my chest, get it out of my mind, put it out there, and share it with others, and hopefully get some feedback. Whether people have their opinions and share that with me. I won't allow spurious and BS postings, but if someone's really trying to help or influence or make the world a better place by educating those who are maybe still in error or still learning, like myself, I welcome that kind of heat. I welcome that kind of challenge. But all right, back to what I was saying about the conversation with my sister. I explained to her that growing up, I was taught to believe. I was taught word of mouth, teachers, society, neighbors, friends, family, that you need to respect the government. And who the government was, this is what I was taught. The government was the police, the judges, the people in suits that are in court, these were the government. But that is one of the biggest lies that I realized was false. I am the government. You are the government. We, the people, are the government. Now, there continues to be an attempt on the claim that we, the people, are bringing charges against you or whoever. But if we're going to be real, we've got to understand who the government is. Well, in this, country, it's we the people, by the people, for the people. That's one reason why those who are in government are called public servants. Some of them I have had experiences where some of them said, "What makes you give the right to tell me what to do?" And I talked to them and I said, "You are my public servant. You are a public servant, correct?" And they, gawked at me. Like, how dare you call me a public servant? Well, you took an oath of office, right? You're in a position of a public office. You are a public official. You are a public servant, correct? And it's interesting to see. But anyway, so the point is that we're the government. The people are the government, and we're being taught and told and tricked by whoever is in power, the Illuminati, whoever. I just call it evil. It's pure evil. Whoever it is, whoever's acting or perpetrating it, the Satan within us, the evilness within men, the corruption that is potential in all creatures, mostly mankind. But yeah, I just wanted to share that little bit. Is that you've got to wake up. You got to do your own due diligence and research what you've been told your whole life. It just I've been posting videos and stuff, sharing videos and stuff that encourage thinking. I have not been met with such adversity, animosity, and spite as I have been when I question the legal system, when I question the system of law, the system of government, and I just ask questions, just like hey, is this a court of law or a court of equity? Glare and just angry and I don't have to answer your questions. Hey, are you going to get me those signed oaths of office? I don't have to answer you, and I'm not required to answer any questions, and I'm not going to give you any reason why I'm not going to give you oaths of office or provide those. Really? You're a public servant, and you don't have to answer any questions that the public brings you, or you don't have to identify yourself. I just find it crazy that people who question are met with such resistance. So we all just need to get past that. I would say for public servants, suck up your ego. Get rid of your ego. It's just causing you trouble, okay? And you're harming other people in the process. You're harming men and women in the process. Just work on your ego. If you can throw someone in prison and say, just business, then in the same way if somebody challenges you, don't get all upset about it and get all personal about it. Like, he's trying to challenge me, and then your ego flares up and it whispers in your head, do this to this guy, you have the power. That's power corrupts. Let's be real. Power corrupts men. And unless there are other men that will exercise their right to preserve freedom, exercise their duty. Anyone who wants the benefits of freedom have a duty to protect it. So, cops are saying, I was just doing my duty, I have a duty to this, a duty to that. Well, if you are a man or a woman, irregardless of what country you're in, you have a duty to protect and defend the weak, to protect and stand for justice, to protect freedom and pursue it. It's a pursuit. That's why it's called the pursuit of happiness. You can't have happiness if you don't have freedom. Alright, enough of that. Okay, so 49, you guys have to forgive me and be patient with me because I'm not used to doing videos. I'm not really good at planning videos, and I'm just trying to do more of a rant. So I apologize if this has taken forever. We're already just nearly 25 minutes here. Alright, so 49 CFR 1104.5. That is, I'll read that again, 49 CFR 1104.5. And that covers the affirmation or declarations under penalty of perjury in accordance with 18 U.S.C. 1621 in lieu of oath. The next one is 18 U.S. Code, Section 1621. This covers perjury generally. The next section is 5 U.S.C. Section 1304, Loyalty Investigations, Reports, Revolving Fund. The next section is 18 U.S. Code, Section 2383. This covers rebellion and insurrection. Next one is 18 U.S. Code 2384, and that covers seditious conspiracy. The next one covers the Hate Crimes Act, and you can find that at 18 U.S.C. Section 249. Next section is 18 U.S. Code, Section 242, which covers deprivation of rights under color of law. Color of law is like color of gold. Now, let's think about this for a minute. If I take a rock and I get a rattle can, spray can of gold coloring spray paint, and I spray paint that rock, right? Cover it all, make it look sparkly, shiny, like a big nugget of gold. And I bring that to a someone who buys gold, and I say, look, I got gold. Do you want it? I'll sell it to you. And the guy looks at it, and if he exercises due diligence, he'll realize it is not gold, but it is color of gold. And you can do that by checking its weight, see if it has weight to it. Picking off, digging in, research it, investigating. Oh, it's flaking off here. This isn't real gold. This is color of gold. Say, no, it's gold. Even the spray can says gold. See, I can even cite the source. You know, this is in accordance with motor vehicle traffic law, or motor vehicle traffic code. It's against city ordinance, and that's the law. No, that's an ordinance. It's not law. So, color of law is something that has the face of law, but does not have the force of law. It may seem that way, but in reality, in truth and honor and integrity, it is not law. Factually, it is not law. It is color of law. So I hope I beat that dead horse deader. Whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or the laws of the United States, or to different punishments, pains, or penalties, on account of such person being an alien, or by reason of his color. So, for being an alien, I consider myself an alien to this system. I do not understand what's going on when I am in court. I do not understand who is who. I do not understand what's being administered, if it's a trust, or what kind of a court we're in. So, technically, I'm alien to their court. I mean, really, look it up. Alien does not mean an outer space creature. It does not mean that you've crossed the border from Mexico or from Canada. The alien means just different, just separate, you know, or an outsider in a sense, or by reason of his, or by reason of his color or race, then are prescribed for the punishment of citizens. Okay, you got to pay attention here. So it's saying that citizens have a prescribed punishment. So being a citizen means that you you are prescribed to punishment. What it's saying under here is that if any person, now we just got to be clear that person, I don't know their definition by this code, but to me a person is a legal fiction or a legal entity. So otherwise, without this code, you would just call it, you know, conspiracy to kill, right? You would just skip all their codes and laws and definitions and word usage and twisting of the words and all that kind of stuff, and you would just go to the bare bones of what the reality is. The reality is conspiracy to kill, attempt to kill. The act of killing someone is restricting life, and I'm telling you right now, what's happening to me and a lot of people, or a lot of us, is they're killing us. They're killing us slowly. They're killing us with, look up the actual definition of the word kill. You know, kill is not to die. That is death. Death is the end of life, not the restriction of life. Killing is a restriction of life. And for me, restriction of life starts anywhere, in any way, shape, or form. It's a restriction of life. And life consists of your rights, your body, your time, your energy, living. And if you're restricted in the form of living the pursuit of happiness that you want, then it is conspiracy to kill. Now, I'm not saying that we should not pursue freedom and pursue justice and pursue righteousness and stand for truth and stand for freedom and defend it and protect those who can't defend themselves, or protect even public servants who are being harmed by the system for following their oath of office or refusing to arrest somebody on a frivolous or spurious charge, or some statutory regulation that doesn't apply to someone who's not contracted with the state. Okay, so let's see. Shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both, and if bodily injury results from the acts committed in violation of this section, if such acts include the use or attempted use or threatened use of a dangerous weapon, which is what almost every public servant has or has at his discretion. Explosives or fire shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. So it's a pretty serious charge when you're acting as a mercenary instead of a public servant, and you're in office for private gain instead of for, you know, an office of honor. As a public servant, you're acting as a mercenary for those law enforcement officials or agents, men and women who think that they're protected by their office. Yeah, we're just going to move on from here. You guys can read this stuff on your own. I don't want to make this video long and drawn out. 18 U.S. Code Section 113, assault within maritime and territorial jurisdiction. So if they're saying, hey, we may not have lawful jurisdiction or whatever, if they say we're just exercising territorial jurisdiction, or if that's what's implied or assumed, or if that's the only thing that they really have is territorial jurisdiction, or within maritime jurisdiction, if they're trying to play games and act like you're in some maritime jurisdiction, this covers that area too. So you can say, oh, okay, fine. If you're going to claim we're maritime, I'm going to object to that as an appealable issue, and you know, I don't agree to you. I don't agree with what you're saying, you know. But even according to that, let me just explain to you, you know, the penalties for doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? So you've got to know where they're coming from, and you've got to understand the best way to overcome an adversary is to know your adversary. You know, that's why there's that saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. You know, there's lots of sayings and proverbs and parables that talk about this, but the reality is that if you don't know their approach, then you're not going to know how to defend yourself, because they're not going to tell you their approach or any tricks they got up their sleeve. You know what I mean? You've got to know, even if they're going to try to pull you into some legalistic, fictitious, which is false, which is lie, and have you play this fictitious game of court and do all these policies and procedures and rituals and all this stuff that is just sin. That's all it is just sin. If they're going to force you to do that, it would be good to know what they're trying and why they're trying it. I would think, anyways. I mean, I may be wrong, and I may still have more learning to do. I may be just be getting caught up in that when I don't need to be. But I do like to know where they're coming from, and as a matter of just saying, okay, let me try and understand where you're coming from, and this is what is shared, and I say, yeah, but still, it's not lawful. You know what I mean? So it's good to at least know a bit about who your enemy is, and I'm saying enemy not as an enemy of the government, because I'm not against government. Governments are instituted among men by men to secure the rights and property of men. There's nothing wrong with government. You know, there's been government all throughout history, throughout the scriptures. I mean, even from what I know, the little bit I know about the history of this land, is that even Native Americans had government. They had a system of government in their communities, which was the elders. The elders of the community, who were the most knowledgeable of the community, were the government. And they were split up into just different groups and different clans. And even biblically, there were governments instituted among the children of Israel and among God's children, among the people, that the men and women that God created. There were governments instituted. Now, so I'm not saying that I am anti-government or that I'm an anarchist. All I'm saying is I am against corruption in government. That's what I'm against. And I'm required, it's my duty to fight against it. So that's what I mean by when I'm saying enemy. Our war is not against flesh and blood, okay? As the scriptures tell us, it's not against flesh and blood. So moving on, 18 United States Code Section 241. This is conspiracy against rights. This is some stuff you guys should really research and do your due diligence and find out if you really want to do what you got to do. 42 United States Code. That's 42 United States Code Section 1983. Civil action for deprivation of rights. We've got 18 United States Code Section 2385. This covers the advocating overthrow of government. Now, I do believe that what corruption is doing, the men and women who are participating in a racket of corruption, white-collar crime, using the justice system, using the system of law, the system of the courts and the law enforcement, I do believe that those who are impersonating public servants are advocating the overthrow of government. Because if we are a government, if the government is consistent of we the people, by the people, for the people, but they refuse to let the people have any say in government or do anything to control or strengthen government, and they start implementing their own policies and procedures that dictate to the public what they think, and start changing laws and start ignoring the oath of office and start ignoring the establishment of the common law government, to me that's advocating the overthrow of the government. Asking questions, standing in honor, being peaceful and truthful, and exposing the fraud is not the overthrow of government. And that would just be that's what crazy people say. Okay, 18 United States Code Section 2384 covers serious conspiracy. I think I might have mentioned that already, so it might be a duplicate one here. And then we've got treason. 18 United States Code Section 2381. Whoever, owing allegiance to the United States, levies war against them, or adheres to their enemies, what is considered an enemy? Tyranny, tyrants, terror. Wait a second. There is a war on terror. It's not a lawful war. But if they can declare war on terror, then terror is the enemy. And if terror is the enemy and there's a war on terror, then anybody committing an act of terror is going directly against the United States while owing allegiance to the United States. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. If they can declare war on an undeclared enemy, and they're going to claim that an idea, terror, is considered an enemy by them, their actual declaration of war on terror, well, let's take it to task. Let's see here. So if terror equals identified enemy, well then that would mean those who commit an act of terror, or terrorist, let's see, I forgot where I was going with that. Okay, adheres to their enemies. Okay, so a terrorist is someone who terrorizes. So if you look up the definition of terror and you research it, where it came from what I can remember, it was something that had to do with political oppression. That's where it all started. It was where policies and politics were oppressing the people and forcing unjust statutes and rules and policies and procedures on them, and they would terrorize them if they didn't follow. And so they were put in a constant state of terror, and so that's where the word terror came from. So if there is a declared war on terror, and right here it's saying whoever owing allegiance to the United States, well, an oath of office puts them in owing an allegiance because they've pledged that oath, their allegiance to the United States, and to protect and defend it against foreign and domestic enemies. If they levy war against them or adhere to their enemies, which their enemies are terrorists, and by their act of terrorism, they themselves are adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort, it says, within the United States or elsewhere. So if they're giving them aid, you ever heard of aiding and abetting? So they're giving them aid by enforcing these statutes and policies and codes and rules, and through the use of bar members, which stands for, as far as I understand, British Accredited Registry, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death, or shall be in prison not less than 5 years, and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. So, let's just clear this up real quick. I'm going to read it one more time, and there's a thing called treason by sedition. Okay, and I think we covered that earlier. It's something you're going to have to look up. Perjury, rebellion, seditious conspiracy. Right. If two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law in the United States. Delay the execution of any law. So if a man is trying to enforce or defend the law, or himself or others in the law, and they delay the execution of any law, or by force seize, take, or possess any property of the United States contrary to the authority thereof, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. Wow. So seditious conspiracy is a 20-year sentence. Treason is a 5-year sentence. Death or a 5-year imprisonment, and a $10,000 fine. This one doesn't even give an option. Oh, it shall be fined under this title. Okay, so they'll be fined, but it doesn't say the amount, and they'll be in prison not any more than 20 years, or both. So treason by seditious conspiracy or sedition, conspiracy to commit treason through acts of sedition, just different ways to put it.
Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death, or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States.
Okay, and the last page is just a copy of the oaths, the oath that is administered for this area for most public servants around here. So that's oath of office. Now, I think I'm going to stop the video here. I'm already up to past 45 minutes. I don't do any video editing. I'm not good at video editing software. I'm just going to post it up in its raw. And this is a draft. It's a rough draft, and that's all it's going to be, and that's all it's going to stay, because I don't have time to invest into editing the video. And that's that. So I hope you guys do your research about oaths of office. If you have anything to share with me about the oath of office, I'd really appreciate it. If you can just put it in the comments. I don't really know how YouTube works and everything. This is, like I said, this is the second video I've made on YouTube. So if you can share anything about oaths of office, or any ways that you have done, know of, or have an idea of how to pursue a situation to put our public servants on their oath, specifically a judge, because that's what I'm dealing with right now, is the courtroom not acting honorably. They're being abusive. They're being criminal, and they're not producing the oath. I have options of things I'm going to do, complaints and claims and notices and all that stuff. So, but any information you guys have to share, I would really appreciate it. And the more we share with each other what we know and what we've learned, the sooner we'll be in a peaceful society, and the sooner we'll get freedom will reign, and the sooner we will establish justice for all and equality under the law, not what we got going on right now. All right. Well, thank you all, and God bless.